What do I think of the King books I've read this year so far? Stay tuned to find out. Alright guys, welcome back to my channel. I'm Zach with Zach's Books, and today I am ranking for you the 5 Stephen King books I have read in 2022. As always, don't forget to like, comment, and subscribe, and let's get into my list. Alright, so the 5 books I read this year have been Under the Dome, The Tommyknockers, Skeleton Crew, which is the collection, Gwendy's Final Task, and Insomnia. I have read 5 this year, and we are on month 7, so my King a month has not gone to plan. However, a couple of these are pretty massive, so back up. I'm going to rank these for you. At the end of the video, I will have an announcement that I'm planning to do in August, or start it in August, so stay tuned for that. But here is my tier list of these books. I guess not tier list, my ranking list of these books. In 5th place, I've got Gwendy's Final Task that he wrote with Richard Chizmar. So this book, to me, I enjoyed the story. I thought it was intriguing that they were in space. Also, I'm going to try and keep this as spoiler-free as possible. So there's your warning now. I just wanted there to be more Dark Tower references in this book. Like, there's literally a picture of the tower on the cover of the book. So why... It just doesn't seem mentioned, and I feel like it should have been, and it wasn't. And so I had really high hopes when I saw this cover. I was like, oh my god, there's a tower behind him. Like, this is it. Dark Tower references. Woo! And it was, no, there was not that many. There was like one at the end, and I think her father just mentions like a quote that is like a quote from the Dark Tower series, and that's it. I just didn't enjoy it as I hoped I would have. So out of the trilogy, I would say this is probably in 2nd place. Gwendy's Button Box obviously is the first one. It's the best one in my opinion. This one will come in 2nd, and I would say that Gwendy's Magic Feather is in last. That one Richard Chizmar just wrote on his own, so I missed King in that one. Not saying that Chizmar's a bad author. I'm just saying it didn't feel like it should have been in the series if King wasn't involved. I think King wrote like the introduction to that one, but it just didn't feel the same. So for me, that one's in last. And for this year so far of the King books I've read, this one is in 5th place, last place, Gwendy's Final Task. Alright, coming in 4th place is Skeleton Crew. So I know a lot of you are probably saying, Zach, Tommyknockers sucks. Why is that not 4th place? Because I actually enjoyed that book. So I'm going to talk about that one in a minute, soon. Maybe. It could be first. You don't know. It's not first. But this one is a collection of, well, short stories and novellas and stuff. The Mist is in this. I absolutely love that. We did a reading vlog with this book. Where I talked about each story individually, and I believe I ranked all of them. Overall, this was like a 4-star, 4.25. Final Task, I think I gave 3, and the rest of these are, I think, 4.5 or better. So, this I thought was a very good collection. My overall favorite story in this collection is The Raft. I just love it because it's also part of Creepshow 2, which is a movie. That's got 3 stories in it. Old Chief Woodenhead, The Raft, and the Hitchhiker, I think, is the 3rd story in that one. But The Raft, such a great story. The Monkey, phenomenal. The Mist was fantastic. I think The Jaunt is in this too, and The Jaunt was just creepy. The Jaunt, that was a good one. Word Processor of the Gods, that was another solid story. Grandma, that story is traumatizing. That is absolutely traumatizing. That story was so good. Uncle Otto's Truck is another one I thought was really, really intriguing. So I like the majority of the stories in this book. Out of all the short story collections I've read, maybe I'll do a video on that next. Let me know in the comments if you want me to rank the short stories that I've read so far. Not like the short stories, like the collections themselves. So like Night Shift and you know what I'm talking about. But this was a very good collection, and I thoroughly enjoyed everything with it. And again, I did do a reading vlog with this. So if you want more in-depth stories or me going over the stories, check out that reading vlog up here, or I think I did like a final video on it, but I did a video I think with Skeleton Crew. I think it might have been it was a reading vlog of some sort, so check it out up here. We'll try and post it up here if you want to check that out. But yeah, 4th place this year for Stephen King books, Skeleton Crew. Alright, for me, between 3rd and 2nd place, kind of interchangeable at this point, in my opinion. I thought both the stories were good. You're in a giant town for both of them. There's one that I thought was better than the other. Obviously, that's why it's ranked in 2nd and not in 3rd. So for me, in 3rd place, but kind of interchangeable with 2nd, the Tommyknockers. So this book, a lot of people hate this story. A lot of people don't like it. This was when King was super coked out, and he went to rehab like part of the way through this book, and then when he comes back there's a change in tone, which is kind of the same thing you see with like Cell and Dreamcatcher. There's like a change in tone in the book. I will say though, with Dreamcatcher and the Tommyknockers, in my opinion, it worked and I liked it. This book got, I think, 4.5 stars for me. Cell did not work. Did not work for me. Turned into a giant poop show. This book is pretty much you're following the story of this town in Maine, obviously. There's references to his other books. Cujo, I think, gets mentioned in this book. And I really liked it. There's this woman, I'm trying to remember her name, Bobby. Bobby is a woman. She's walking her dog in the woods, and she stumbles across this metal plate or metal disc in the ground. And when she uncovers it, it gives off this radiation, and when it gives off the radiation, it makes people get like powers. Like they're smart, they can do things that they normally couldn't have. Towards the beginning, there's a boy who wants to be a magician. He makes his little brother disappear, and he actually disappears. And he can't get him back. He doesn't know how to. And he does it with like food. I think he does it to an apple a few times as practice, but then he like does it to his brother. It's kind of like a brother rivalry. They don't really get along that well, and then when he makes him disappear, he's like, "No, I'm sorry, I'm sorry." There's people who create a bunch of weird items, and basically like the town gets infected, but there's one person who doesn't, and that is the main guy that we're following in the story, and it's because he's got a metal plate in his head, and so the radiation doesn't like get to him all the way through like quick enough to where everyone else changes, and everyone else changes into like these weird alien looking things. Not a lot of people like that. I thought it was fine. I enjoyed the story. If I were to re-rank my top Stephen King books of all time, this is for sure not in the top 10. Might be in the top 20, but it's for sure in the top 30. I enjoyed it. I don't know. It's not up there for Dreamcatcher is with me, but Tommyknockers is still a very solid story. If you have read this book and you don't like it, let me know in the comments why, what issues you had with it. Just let me know in the comments. So there you have the Tommyknockers. If you have not guessed which ones are left, obviously I said the 5 at the beginning, so I would hope you know which ones are left, hopefully. In second place for me is Under the Dome. This is a very large book. I started this, I want to say it was 2 years ago. I started it 2 years ago. a little bit after the time I started my #1 book, and I got maybe 100 pages in and I just gave up. I stopped reading it. So this was the first book I read of King this year. I read it in January, and then I went to the Tommyknockers and then Skeleton Crew. Yeah. So this book is very long. I thought the story was really good. I gave it 4.5 stars, I think. I think there was just some weird things that happened in the book that I just didn't enjoy. There's a group of people. So basically, if you don't know what this is, a dome falls over this town. Nobody can figure out what it is, why it is what it is, and it's just the imagery of when the dome is falling over the town is absolutely phenomenal. It like cuts a gopher in half, or a mole. It cuts an animal in half, and it's just absolutely like awesome. There's a plane that's flying, crashes into the dome. People driving crash into the dome because it's invisible. You can't see it. And so what the town is like, what they decide to try and do towards the end, it's kind of a weird thing what they try and do. I think it was an accident. It was an accident what happened. It wasn't like something planned. But the town's trying to get rid of this thing. They're trying to like cut through it and stuff, and they're kind of like turning on each other. In the stand, there's a group that kind of turn on. I don't really want to say it's like a group. I think there's people who just disagree with each other, and they just kind of keep going with their lives. But there's a group of people in this book that are just pure dicks, and I just hate that group. I can't remember their names. I think one of them was a police officer, I think. And there's a character that you're following that you like, and like something happens to him, and it's just like, oh, I didn't expect that to happen. I thought this book was pretty decent. I didn't hate it. I am glad I ended up finishing it, that's for sure. This is another book that would probably be in my top 20 King of all time. I don't want to say it's in my top 10 just because I think there's books that are better, such as the one that's coming up next. But overall, very solid book. I enjoyed everything with it. But Under the Dome, second best book of Stephen King's that I have read in the year of 2022. So, that would mean that there is only one book left to be #1. And that is the book that everyone has said I need to read and give a fair chance because I gave up on it 2 years ago. And everyone was actually pretty surprised. There's a lot of Dark Tower references in this book, and I'm surprised that I actually DNF'd it once. Insomnia. This book, I flew through this book. I couldn't put the damn thing down. It was so good. Again, I'm more seasoned, which is going to lead into my announcement in a few minutes. But I'm more seasoned with reading his stuff now, so I kind of get more of the idea of what he's wanting to do. Insomnia was a book I just wanted, like, action. I had just read, I think, like Pet Sematary and like Firestarter and Carrie or something like that before I got into this one, and it just kind of started a little slow. And once I got past the part where I stopped the last time, which is page like 100 and something, it was phenomenal. It was so good. So many Dark Tower references are in this book, and it's just great. You're following Ralph. He's a old man, his wife just passed away, and he starts getting insomnia. And the insomnia starts leading into a bunch of other random stuff. He suddenly starts seeing these weird creatures, and he like can start doing weird things. Like it's weird. It's a weird story. I'm not gonna lie to you. It's kind of awkward, or not awkward. It's odd. It's weird and odd, but it's a very, very good book. I gave it 5 stars. This is for sure in my top 20 King books. I don't think it's gonna crack top 10, but it could be number 10. Don't know yet. I definitely need to do an update though for this year because I do not have any of these. None of these crack the top 10, so I don't have to update the top 10. Maybe. I don't know. I still got to ponder it a little bit. This is the most recent one I've read. But this book is just absolutely amazing. And I'm glad that I finally decided to read it because it's just really good. It's pretty much they get him and this other girl, this other woman, I can't think of her name, but she gets this ability too with like her sleeping habits, and him and her are like tasked by these like weird creatures to like stop an assassination from happening, and it's really cool. I thought it was a really amazing story. So for sure this is my overall favorite King book I have read this year. I don't know what is going to top it. In all honesty, 11/22/63 I might try and read later this year. I still have to read Rose Madder, The Talisman. I have plenty of books that I still need to read. I'm not saying Rose Madder is going to top it. That just happens to be in my July TBR. So don't think that Rose Madder is going to be better than this, because I've heard very opposite. But I've also heard the same with the Tommyknockers, so who knows? Everyone's different when it comes to their books. So, Insomnia. My number one favorite King book of 2022 is Insomnia so far. I still have got a couple months to go, but we'll see if anything tops it. I don't know if anything will. So, Insomnia, Stephen King. Number one book this year so far. Alright, the first announcement I have is I'm going to be starting a Discord. So if you want to talk anything bookish, Stephen King or not, thriller, mystery, whatever it may be, we're going to have it linked down below. So if you're intrigued with that, then take a look at that. I will be starting that soon. I don't know if we have a date set in mind, but it's going to be within the next week or so. And to piggyback off of that, Stranger Things, sorry. I am also going to be doing a read-along starting August 1st. So we're going to have that attached with the Discord. So if you want to talk about what I'm going to be reading, then that will be part of it. But I have decided to reread the Dark Tower series. So this is the first book, The Gunslinger, obviously. And so I've decided to reread the series. I've been watching some of my older videos lately, and I have realized that I feel like I dug deep into the Dark Tower series sooner than I might have probably wanted to in my King reading career. And so what I've decided to do is for August, I'm going to start rereading the Dark Tower series. I'm not going to do it for the rest of July. It's already about halfway through July. And I just want to kind of keep reading the other books I have in my TBR. So I'm going to be doing this as a read-along in the Discord. If you want to discuss with me stuff in the Dark Tower series while I'm doing it, feel free. The other thing I'm going to say is I'm not going to be... The original plan was to read all 8 of them straight in a row, but I'm not going to do that. I'm going to read one of them, might sprinkle in a book 2 or 3 in between, and then the second book, book 2 or 3, third one, I might sprinkle in a couple of different books in between. I am hoping to try and finish all of them by the end of the year. Because August, there's obviously, that's 8, I think that's 8/1, I think is the date. So I'm going to have pretty much 4 months to finish the 8 books. I'm going to try and do 2 in a month. That's probably my ballpark plan. But obviously work gets in the way and all that fun stuff. So I'm going to do what I can. We also have got the other 3 channels that we're doing. We've got Danielle's books. We have my other second sport channel that we made. And then we have the Zach and Danielle channel. So we got all this other stuff going on. So I'm going to do my best to stick true to my word with this and finish the series by the end of the year starting in August. So the average would need to be 2 books a month. Duh, because that's math. And I'm going to do it correct this time. I went through the keyhole after Wizarding Glass, and a lot of you did not say that's the way it's supposed to go. Again, I was a newbie, so I didn't know what I was really doing. So this time around I will be saving Went Through the Keyhole for last, after the Dark Tower. So this time I'm going to be doing it correctly. But yes, August 1st, read along. The Gunslinger. That is when I'm planning to start it. Depending on what day it is, August 1st, it might end up being the 2nd or 3rd if I work that day. I might not start it the 1st. But the first couple days in August, I'm going to be starting a read along. Again, we have the Discord are going to be starting soon. Check that out. You can chat with me on this, your thoughts on the book. Obviously, I've read it once before, so we don't have to worry about spoiling me or anything like that. Obviously, my memory is shite, so I might not remember everything that I've read in this series. There's just a lot going on. This time around, I'm going to be paying more attention to detail. I'm going to be giving Wizard and Glass a fair chance. Went Through the Keyhole, a fair chance. I need to understand that it's not just the action that I'm looking for in this Dark Tower series. There's more to it than just fighting and getting to the tower, which was what I first thought going through this series. I'm more open with it. I need to understand that there's more to this than just fighting and guns and cowboys and stuff. So I am going to be doing this starting in August. So that is my announcement to go along with this video. Thank you guys for watching. Thank you for listening to me banter. I'm sure this has been a long video. We're at the end now. We're in the end game. As always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe. If you have read these 5 Stephen King books, let me know what you think. If you're excited about the Dark Tower series reread, let me know in the comments. And as always, don't forget to like, comment, subscribe, and we'll see you guys in the next video. Later.